Hey guys, we're back at it again with a brand new virtual episode of the NOM Studios podcast. Today I have Beth Granger with me. How you doing, Beth?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having
Uh,
me.
how are you doing in this cold weather?
I'm ready for spring, for
You
sure.
ready for spring? Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's been a long winter. And then the groundhog say we're gonna get another couple of weeks
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the other day.
I don't know if I trust the groundhog, but looking outside, it's going to take that long for everything to melt. So,
Yeah, I know. Like there is a huge amount of snow. Well, thank you for joining. I mean, we've known of and we've worked with each other for a while. I feel like this is going to probably be our longest conversation to date. But tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, what you do, that kind of thing.
sure. Let's see, where to begin? Um, Actually started as a graphic designer, which you might not know.
Mm, okay.
And I'm approaching now 16 years of having my own business,
Okay.
which is training, consulting, and speaking to help people be more effective on LinkedIn when networking in person and online and having better critical conversations.
Okay. Okay. So you're perfect for this podcast right now. Maybe you'll give me a few pointers.
Absolutely.
Rich Tavares is telling me about that. You're part of the National Speaker Association. Is that correct?
Yes,
Did I say that right?
it's an amazing community of
Yeah.
professional speakers, and just we support each other, we learn together, and it's a really wonderful organization.
Okay, so tell me about that. Like, since you're in the space of consulting, speaking critically,
Mhm.
like, how do you usually? I'm a client.
Uh-huh.
How do you usually walk me through something like that?
Through doing, if I was going to come in and speak.
No, no. If you were going to help me critically speak, if you're going
Oh,
to help me
oh,
in
so
that sense, yeah.
so the type of work I do is not related to public speaking. So
Hmm.
I'm part of National Speakers Association because I
Hmm.
speak.
Okay, got
The-
you, got you.
Yeah, the work that I do relates more to conversations that people are having. So
Hmm.
a sales conversation, a networking conversation, a team conversation.
Hmm.
An example being, there was an organization that had an accelerator program for people in the sustainability space
Hmm.
where they came from different companies and they had a project they were trying to pitch to their leadership team, and I helped them understand some of the behind the scenes things of powerful conversations and even some
Hmm.
phrases to use during that conversation.
Okay, okay. Um, so what would be like your favorite project or
Oh,
to date?
you know, I there's no one that's my favorite.
Hmm.
I like the variety. I like that some days I'm working with an individual one to one, almost like a personal trainer at the gym,
Hmm.
but for their LinkedIn behavior. And
Okay.
the next day I'm on a plane flying to North Carolina to train a team of realtors in using
Okay.
LinkedIn. And the next day I'm visiting somebody on their podcast
Okay, that's awesome. So, did you just come from North Carolina?
before the snow.
Before the snow, okay. So, oh man, you should have just stayed down. Well, they got snow there too, I
They
think.
did. They
They
did.
did. Okay, so do you see yourself as a risk taker or opportunist? Like, are you a risk taker?
What's so funny is actually I think of myself as a risk avoider, but yet I
Mm.
started a business. So I guess uh,
Well,
um, I
everybody
don't
who's a
know.
business owner knows that
Yeah,
that is a huge risk.
it is. I describe it as the best roller coaster ride I've ever been on
Okay.
because there are highs, there are lows, sometimes within the same day. It's exciting, it's scary. You don't know what's coming around the bend, but you're driving the cart.
So there's a difference between taking a risk and recognizing an opportunity. Like you started your own business. Do you feel that was more of taking a risk or seeing the opportunity in what
Mm.
could and has been?
I think
And do
it
you
was
help your
both.
clients with the same distinction in their own careers?
Ooh, I like that question. So I think for me, it was a little of both.
Hmm.
When I worked in corporate, I remember specific times where I thought about starting a business or leaving or I worked at an organization that was not doing so well, and I brought three of my colleagues together and we talked about should we leave and start a business.
Mm,
Um, so I don't know, it was just the right time and place kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
And what happened was I was invited to a networking organization
Okay.
thinking I was looking for a new job. And they
Okay.
kept wanting to introduce me to somebody for a project. And I'd say, no, 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 because I'm going to get a job and I wouldn't be able to finish. And then back in 2010, there weren't a lot of jobs. And I was finally offered a job, and the salary was so low that I said,
Mm.
that's it, I'm in business. And I got my first client the next day. So
Okay.
I don't know.
So
Kismet.
it was a little bit of both. It was
Yeah,
a little bit of testing the waters, but also recognizing the opportunity.
absolutely.
Okay. And 16 years into running your own business, what's something that still catches you off guard, you would say?
Hmm. I don't know if there are things that catch me off guard. It's just that nothing ever will stay the same, right? When you have your
Mm-hmm.
own business, they're going to be you're going to get a client, you're going to lose a client, you're going to something's going to happen in the world like the pandemic. You
Yeah.
have to be able to be nimble and take chances
Yeah.
and also listen for opportunity. You were talking about opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started, I was doing a lot of different things like website project management, social media strategy. And one of my clients said, oh, our sales team's coming in. Can you teach them how to use LinkedIn?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what led me down the path to where I am today. So I
Yeah.
think also being open to trying different things or taking that step.
Okay. One thing that you told me before is that you're exactly, quote, exactly what to say certified guide.
Yep.
What exactly is that?
So there's a book and a body of work by a guy named Phil M. Jones.
Okay.
And the guides, I think we're up to 50 something guides now.
Mm-hmm.
We have been trained to both use the work and incorporate the work into our work in any way we want.
Okay.
So, for instance, I do programs based on that work. I've combined some of that work. Right after I became a guide, I developed a new program and a new talk called Finding Diamonds in Your Database.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all about we have hundreds, if not thousands, of connections on LinkedIn and elsewhere that we either don't know well, or have lost touch with,
Okay.
and how to look through those connections and mine them. And then the exactly what to say part is what to say to reconnect without the person thinking you're trying to sell them something because you're not. But
Yeah.
so yeah, it's all
I
about
feel like I feel like it
conversation.
reminds me of like what have I been seeing? I've been seeing a lot of guys do like classes on how to how to drop Tinder and how to speak to a lady outside. I feel like that's what you're doing, but more like the business side.
Well, what's interesting is all the different guides, because we get to use it however we want. There
Mm-hmm.
is one guide who is looking at using it for families, so for parents to be able to have more powerful conversations within the family unit. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what's one thing that like a typical business owner could do or say or react in order like to shift if they're like having a difficult conversation? Let's say I'm having a conversation with a client and they're not happy for whatever reason and you're
Mhm.
trying to mitigate. Like what's a quick like tip that you would give?
To be more curious. Because if you
Mm,
ask more questions, you're going to uncover things that you didn't realize. For instance, maybe somebody had a bad experience with somebody in your space before, and so they're bringing that experience to this conversation. So the more curious you are, the more questions you ask, it the
mm,
person both it shows you care about the person,
mm,
it they become more comfortable having the conversation and not being afraid to hear a negative thing.
mm. Okay, trauma. Everybody loves a good past business trauma.
Yep.
Okay, so what's some of the most common mistakes people make in a high stakes conversation, whether that's a sales pitch, a negotiation, or just asking for what they deserve?
Yeah.
Like,
I think people, especially a sales conversation,
mm,
people ask too soon. They ask before
too
they even
soon.
know that the person, that they're the right fit, that the person needs what they're selling. Maybe it's something completely different. I
Mm,
think people are eager, sometimes desperate, right? They just ask for the business too soon before they've even had that discovery conversation.
yeah. So tell me about like you being like a LinkedIn, a professional LinkedIn specialist.
Yeah.
Like, is that something you got from LinkedIn?
No,
Um,
no.
Okay, so tell me
That
about that because I use LinkedIn a lot. I use it a
yeah,
lot, but I'm not a specialist. But I like to say like I'm a kind of mini influencer on
I
LinkedIn.
love it.
But like growth is hard on LinkedIn. Like I don't
Yes.
know, it's hard to crack the code. So tell me how you cracked it, how you became a specialist, that
Um,
kind of thing.
well, that story I told you earlier, that client who said, "Hey, our sales team's coming in. Can you teach them to use LinkedIn?" That
Hmm.
was really all those years ago what sent me down this direction, and it's really I feel like a detective. So they'll
Okay.
announce a new feature, and sometimes I think they make new features without even really thinking about how someone will use it or what it's for. And I like to look at this and say, okay, we have this feature. How can we use it to create better visibility or better conversations or whatever it is? And really experimentation, watching things, being in community of people who are also exploring LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And for me, what's interesting is I think of it as a networking tool first.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. Like you see it as a networking tool first and marketing tool second.
Yep.
Like, what's? I mean, yeah. Tell me what the difference is. How
Yeah.
do you
So there
differentiate
are
it?
people, for instance, that are frustrated with the change in the algorithm, so they feel like their stuff isn't being seen by as many people.
Yeah.
So that's the social media feed,
Hmm.
right? Like any other social media platform. But there are so many other things you can be doing, especially as a business owner. I was visited a networking group yesterday, and
Hmm.
I taught them a technique to be more specific with their asks of their referral partners. So if you say to me, who's a good person for you, for instance,
Mm,
that
let's
you would
just
like to
say
meet?
a good person I would like to meet is Gary Vee.
Um, okay, better example, who's a person who could, for instance, come in and rent your studio? Like, describe that
Hmm.
person to me. Yeah.
A person who is successful with their business in
Uh-huh.
growth mode, ready to invest into um, either awareness, marketing, some kind of strategy in marketing.
Any specific industry?
Uh, B to B industries,
Okay.
I would say.
So
No.
if you're networking and you say that to me, because I know so many people, my mind goes blank.
Mm,
But if you look in my LinkedIn connections and come up with some specific people and say to me, hey, Beth, I see you know Susan, John, and whoever, then that's a much more powerful conversation and you're much more likely to have that introduction made than if you say
mm,
something vague. And there are ways, for instance, at this networking
mm,
group, I taught them a very specific way to search within someone else's connections. Like a
mm,
lot of people don't even know you can do that.
mm. Yeah, I think you can do that, right? You just click
Yeah.
into their connections and you see the
Well,
list.
I'll really quickly tell you the acronym I use is SPAC,
Mm-hmm.
SPAC.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do a search, for instance, for, let's say, estate planning, if you're looking for an estate planning attorney or
Mm-hmm.
something. And then you click on people to say, no LinkedIn, I don't want posts, I don't want jobs, I want people. And then in all filters, which is my favorite button
Mm-hmm.
in the search, um, there's an option for connections of, and you can pick a specific person. So if you have a meeting set up, a networking meeting set up with somebody tomorrow, ahead of time, you can go in, look through their connections, and come up with some very specific asks for them.
Ooh, I should have done that for you.
Yeah, next
Do
time.
that for my next one. Now that you told me the T, like that's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. And like so who did you get the LinkedIn certified thing from?
Oh,
Is that the
so
same group?
LinkedIn doesn't certify anybody. I'm not,
Okay.
yeah, no, that's just my
Self-appointed. Yeah,
my
okay.
what I do, and I have been very lucky to have been I've beta tested a number of their features, which I love doing. And
Ooh.
hey, LinkedIn, if you're listening, happy to do it again.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, like did they I guess it was just because of your activity they reached out to you
yeah.
or did you put yourself on a list?
No, no, they reached out to me. I'm not really sure how they found me, but I beta tested LinkedIn Live when it first came
Hmm.
out, LinkedIn Audio, newsletters. Yeah,
Okay.
I like
Yeah, that
trying to
must have
break
changed
things.
so many times. They love you. They love you. So you said that you're becoming a professional speaker and has been your most successful business initiative or project thus
Yeah,
far. You made me realize that speaking was where you needed to go and how did you make that transition? Because I feel like I'm in that transition right now.
yeah,
Like I'm realizing that the thought leadership, making connections, speaking to leaders in the industry like you, being out there is really where the marketing is going. Like not necessarily marketing your brand, but building it behind yourself so then you see yourself as a leader, then people come to you. Like, when did you make that transition yourself?
yeah. I mean, it's just part of the journey. I look back, actually, I have a document that where I listed every speaking um, gig, fee waived or paid, that I did. And I think the first one was almost by accident. Um, the somebody asked me to be on a panel discussion or something, and then I taught some continuing ed classes at Hofstra, and it was sort of this just moving along that path. And I think the first time somebody actually wanted to hire me to speak in something other than teaching, I probably said something like, "Oh, I'm not a speaker." And then I realized, wait a minute, I am. And
Yeah,
certainly finding National Speakers Association, because it's all
yeah,
about the business of speaking. I've learned so much about the business.
yeah. I'm actually
Yeah.
trying to get into that space right now.
Uh,
It's funny you said that because you said you did continuing education
yep.
at what did you say,
Down the
Hofstra? Did you
block,
say?
down the block
Yeah,
from
at
your
Hofstra.
studio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually speaking at my first class, marketing class, at Adelphi on Monday.
Wonderful.
So, like, I feel like knowing that I want to get into this lane of like eventually getting paid to speak or speaking, it's good to hear you started that way and then it eventually rolled into that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
What's the biggest
absolutely
audience
worth.
you've spoken to?
Hmm?
What's the biggest audience you've spoken to?
Um, Biggest audience, probably 200, which is by
Ooh.
design. I'm not the kind of person that's going to be in a big conference hall with thousands of people. That's not the
Mhm.
type of talk
Yeah.
I do. I actually prefer a smaller room. I like to be able to see people's eyes and walk around and um, speak with them individually.
Mhm.
I mean, I know people who can do that in a room of 2,000, and I'm so
Yeah.
impressed with them. But I like a more intimate conversation.
Okay. Okay. That's awesome. So you
Yeah,
like the intimate, you like seeing the realization and the change in their eyes and everything.
exactly.
Okay, okay. So going back to SPAC, before we hopped on this call, did you SPAC me?
I did not. I did not. When we have an offline networking conversation, we can do that. And that's a little bit do as I say, not as I do, because I'm
Yeah,
not always specific about who I want to meet either.
yeah. Well, the carpenter's house is always the last one built. It's so easy to give, you know,
Yeah.
uh, give direction, then take your own direction.
Yes.
Okay, so I do have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
These is like a lightning kind of round thing. It's um, either or questions,
Okay.
no explanation. Maybe we could go into explanation after, but either or questions.
Okay.
But let me know what you would pick. Okay,
Hmm.
trust your gut or trust the data?
Trust your gut.
Trust your gut. Ooh, okay. Send the risky email or sleep on it?
Ooh. Neither. Pick up the phone.
Oh, okay. Okay, a different one. Build something new or fix something broken?
Build something new.
Okay. Early morning grind or late night creative flow?
Late afternoon creative flow.
Late afternoon, okay. You like your mornings and nights. Uh, Okay, here's a good one. LinkedIn DM or face-to-face coffee?
Face to face coffee.
Okay, okay. I'm surprised you said that one.
Tea
Oh
for
my God.
me.
Tea. Okay, okay. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks, Beth. I appreciate having this time with you. Like, it was great. We definitely have to do the face-to-face coffee. I'm always in
Yes.
Central Islip. Where do you live again?
So my time is split between Port Washington and Middle Island.
Okay,
So,
so I'm close by. We
yeah,
could grab coffee. You can tell me of a good coffee place by you.
absolutely.
Um, and then if you're ever by the studio, come by again.
Love to.
Thanks, Beth. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.